An ancient game has never been more popular. How chess has changed over the years. Hi everyone, I'm Jeff, and this is Plain English lesson number 512. JR is the producer, and he has uploaded the full lesson to plainenglish.com/512. There, you will find the full transcript, the video lesson, exercises, translations, and more. plainenglish.com/512. Coming up today, part 1 of a 2-part lesson on chess. Today, we'll talk about the history of the game, where it started, how it evolved, and some key moments in history. And on Thursday, we'll talk about a bombshell cheating allegation that has divided the chess world in two. In the second half of today's lesson, we'll talk about the English expression tailor-made, and we have a quote of the week. Let's get going. Chess is one of the world's oldest games. The earliest form originated in India in the 6th century. The pieces looked a little different, and some rules were different too. Chess historians believe that a player could win by simply capturing all the pieces on the board other than the king. Queens and bishops had fewer powers too. But the game played 1,500 years ago was remarkably similar to the game played today. Over the centuries, the game spread from India to Persia, then to the Arab world, then Asia, and to Europe, where it was embraced by the aristocracy. Chess became something of a rite of passage for the aristocracy and nobility. It was considered an essential skill for developing warriors and nobility. It also led to gambling and violence. Europeans changed some rules to make the game faster. They changed the names and shapes of the pieces, and they started to study chess strategy. What combination of moves at the beginning and end of games could lead to victory? But chess was done evolving. For many hundreds of years, the game itself did not change, but the way it was played did change. Competitive chess emerged in the 19th century, when there were chess clubs, tournaments, and new variations like speed chess, where each move has to happen quickly. Perhaps the most famous chess tournament was the 1972 World Chess Championships in Iceland. American Bobby Fischer beat Soviet Boris Spassky in a proxy battle of the Cold War. The games were shown live on American television, and interest in chess surged. And then a modern invention shook the foundations of this ancient game: computers. A chess player has to think multiple steps ahead, considering the impact of every move. If I make this move, then how would my opponent respond? If he makes that move, then what can I do next? The possibilities may not be endless, but there are billions of possibilities. This seems tailor-made for computers, which can do many calculations in just a short time. When I was a kid, the debate raged about whether a computer could beat the world's best chess players. In 1996, Garry Kasparov, the world's reigning chess champion, squared off against Deep Blue, an IBM computer bigger than a refrigerator. It weighed 1.6 tons and had been built specifically to play chess. It could evaluate millions of potential moves per second. Still, Kasparov was better. He won 4 out of 6 games in the competition. Man had triumphed over machine. This victory, however, was short-lived. The next year, Kasparov and Deep Blue met again. The programmers at IBM had improved the computer in the meantime. In this competition, Deep Blue won 3 games and fought to a draw in 1 game. The era of human dominance over chess was over. This seems quaint today. Today, any person can open a smartphone app and have the power to beat even the world's best player. Chess has lost a lot of its mystique. But what it has lost in mystique, it has gained in accessibility. Chess.com is the most popular platform for competitive chess. Every month, 17 million users log on to play games on chess.com. Players can train themselves against the computer. They can also find human opponents for live online gameplay. Success online can lead to tournament invitations and success in over-the-board games. During the pandemic, with everyone in lockdown, interest in old games surged, and chess is one of the oldest of them all. At the same time, a Netflix series about a female chess champion came out. The Queen's Gambit dropped at just the right time for the modern resurgence of chess. But there is a darker side to chess's modern age: cheating. And that's what we'll talk about on Thursday's lesson. I read that most chess grandmasters start the game very young. Many of them start playing at age 3. Certainly, they're playing chess by 7 years old. It's just incredible. You have to learn the game, the strategy, the way of thinking very early while your brain is still developing if you want to compete at the highest level. People can reach their peak performance very early. A lot of people become grandmasters when they're teenagers, and the best chess players in the world can hit their peak in their 20s. You often think about athletes hitting their peaks relatively young, like in their mid-20s, but it's surprising to think that the same is true for chess players as well. Today's English expression is tailor-made. A tailor is a professional who makes or alters clothes, usually for one specific person. If you take a dress to be tailored, the dress is altered to fit your body. The same goes for men's suits, jackets, dress shirts, and things like that. So, if a suit is tailor-made, if a dress is tailor-made, if a shirt is tailor-made, it's made specifically for you, for your body, to fit you perfectly. The expression tailor-made then can be applied to any situation that seems like one thing is a perfect fit for another. There are two ways to use it. One is to say that something has been customized for a user. Another way is to say that something is just coincidentally a good fit. So let's start with the first one. One thing that has been customized for a user. Have you ever had to take training classes at work that just feel irrelevant? Some large companies are creating learning programs that are tailor-made to each employee. That means if you work in accounting, you don't have to take the same training seminars as the people in sales. And if you're a new salesperson, you don't take the same training as someone much more senior to you. The company created a tailor-made learning program so that each person gets a customized program. Now, this is a little bit of an exaggeration because it's not like every single person gets his or her very own customized plan, but it's a way of saying that the learning plan is at least specifically targeted to you. Think of it like this. Maybe you didn't have an expert make a suit specifically for you, but instead you had a suit adjusted to fit your body. Banks often promise tailor-made solutions to their clients. Not everyone has the same needs with a bank. Think about credit cards. Some people want cards that earn them points with airlines or hotels. Others have less credit, so they're just looking to get started. Other people want to build their credit by paying off their balances every month, and some people want to use their credit cards to finance a large purchase. But instead of having one card and one set of rules for everyone, banks say they have lots of cards tailor-made for you. That means you can choose the credit card that fits your needs the closest. Again, they're not going to make a card and a set of rules specifically for you and no one else, but it's more customized than just offering the same thing to everyone. The other way to use tailor-made is to describe something that is coincidentally a good fit. This is how I used it in today's lesson. Computers are good for a lot of things, right? Computers are great at adding up numbers. They're great at saving information to retrieve later. Computers are not great at, say, creating beautiful music. Computers are not great at writing fiction. But chess seems like a tailor-made problem for computers. It's hard to think of any other traditional human endeavor that is so difficult for a person and that can be solved so elegantly by a computer? Cooking? No way. Playing football? Of course not. Raising children? Don't get me started. Adding a column of numbers? Sure, that's a good fit for a computer, but it's not that hard for a person. But winning at chess? Here's something that's a perfect problem for computers to solve. It's got it all. A defined set of rules, a large number of possibilities, and the need to probability weight outcomes. It's almost like chess was invented just for computers to solve. Of course, we know it was not, but chess seems like a tailor-made challenge for computers. If you watched our 500th lesson, you know that JR likes to go to the Field Museum here in Chicago. This is the Natural History Museum in the city of Chicago, and JR sometimes gets invited to parties there. In fact, one time, even I was invited to a party at the Field Museum. Imagine that. Well, the Field Museum feels tailor-made for big events like fundraisers, parties, and weddings. That's because it has a large lobby with high ceilings. There's a big dinosaur to look at in the lobby. There's a big, open, flexible space. You can't damage anything in the lobby. The main dinosaur is raised up off the ground, so it feels tailor-made for parties and events. Obviously, the Field Museum was not created for parties. It was created as a museum. But by coincidence, it's a good fit for parties. That's why there are many more parties there than at other museums. And we can say that the Field Museum is tailor-made for large parties and events. It feels like it was made for that purpose, even if it wasn't. It's Monday, so I have a quote of the week for you. JR has recently discovered Susie Orman. She is an author, speaker, television host, and now she has a podcast all about personal finances. And Susie Orman gives good advice. Let me tell you that. So here's a quote from Susie Orman that I need to internalize. Here's the quote. A big part of financial freedom is having your heart and mind free from worry about the what-ifs of life. Now, I'm a worrier, in case you can't tell. I obsess over the what-ifs in life, but I need to do less of that. So I'm keeping this quote from Susie Orman in mind. A big part of financial freedom is having your heart and mind free from worry about the what-ifs of life. Well, that's all for this Plain English. Today was lesson number 512 for Monday, October 17th, 2022. On Thursday, we'll revisit this topic with a cheating accusation that is dividing the world of chess. And if you think a person can't cheat in a televised tournament, well, just wait until you hear Thursday's lesson. It has happened before. See you then.